Tayshia Adams reveals she spoke with Chris Harrison before Katie Thurston's season of The Bachelorette. Hey guys, welcome to another shared news from home. We have an update on Tayshia Adams' relationship with Chris Harrison. But before we get into all of that, make sure you subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. I'm your host, Morgan Wright, joined today by Fiona Zaring and Mariah Davis. You guys, we're heading into Katie Thurston's season of The Bachelorette. We know that it's going to look a little different. No Chris Harrison. Tayshia and Kaitlyn are mentoring, hosting, whatever you want to call it, right? But for the first time, we have some insight as to how Chris Harrison feels about it all. In an interview with Cosmo magazine, Tayshia says, "We talked at the beginning of Katie's season, and he was really supportive of me. And he was excited that I had the opportunity. Yeah, no bad blood there." Okay, Chris couldn't really be mad at Tayshia anyways, right? But do you think that Chris is totally cool with this, like Tayshia was kind of playing it off as? What do you think, Fiona?
Well, it's tough because what he has said publicly, right, is that he wanted to take a step back, that he wanted to take this time, that this was important to him. And there's no way when you're filming shows back to back to back to back like this to really sit down and start like a personal journey. There's just not that many hours in the day. So it's tough for me because I want to believe that this is a journey he really does want to be on, that it's work he really is committed to, and that he knows, like, look, there's just not enough hours in the day. I got to get this done. I'm going to take a step back for some time. But then at the same time, I'm human and I'm like, you've got to feel a little bit snubbed. Maybe in his eyes, he could have been, on those off hours on set, sitting down, doing the learning, putting in work, and then going and doing, his job. So I don't really know how he feels behind closed doors. I think that there's probably a little bit, I don't necessarily think it's even a secret. He did hire a lawyer at one point of, tension as we try to figure out his future in the franchise, but he definitely isn't going to hold that against Tayshia. So I believe this quote from her at the very least. What are your thoughts, Mariah?
Yeah, I think there's no way he could possibly be upset in any form with Tayshia. She stepped into an awesome opportunity. There's nobody that would turn that down. And again, like you said, this was Chris's choice. Apparently that's what he said. I'd like to believe that it was his choice and it wasn't production like, buddy, Chris, you're kind of going to have to step down for a bit because you're attracting a lot of heat. I'd like to think it was Chris who really wanted to take on like a journey of self-reflection and growth. And like you said, it would be really hard to do that while also taking on all of the roles and responsibility that come with this position. So I'm sure it's a little bittersweet, as though you're happy for your friend who is now, doing this really cool job, and it's a great opportunity and it's something that she is amazing at and perfect for. It's also like, well, this has been my job for however many years. I made this show what it is today. I'm sure there's a little bit of that going on because, again, he's human. And of course, it's going to be a little bittersweet. It'd be weird if it wasn't, especially because we know that there was a lawyer involved. And that obviously means there was some type of tension going on behind the scenes that we still don't have all of the story for. So there's definitely got to be a little bit something going on there.
Yeah, and we don't really know what the future holds. We so far know that there will be a Bachelor in Paradise season. Hopefully. We haven't heard anything about that, and it's May. It's like the middle of May, so who knows? We do know that we're getting another Bachelorette season with Michelle at the end of the year, but no really permanent statements were made about who's going to be hosting. Well, when asked if Tayshia would be open to hosting again, she said, of course, kind of like you said, Mariah, who would turn down that opportunity? She said she had so much fun and felt like she had a lot to contribute. And another quote, she says, "I genuinely want all these women and men even to come out in a loving relationship. If I can help inspire that at all, I will." Do you think that this first season with Tayshia and Kaitlyn was maybe an audition for Tayshia, maybe an audition for Kaitlyn? Or do you think eventually they will go back to Chris? Mariah, what are your thoughts?
I think only time will tell. I think the biggest factor is going to be how fans and audiences respond to them in that role. Are people going to really love having that change of dynamic, or are they going to be like, okay, we need to see Chris back like ASAP? I think we also covered in a previous episode that the crew had stated, although they love Tayshia and Kaitlyn and they got along really well with the crew, they all are fully hoping and intending on Chris to come back. So we know that the crew is hoping that Chris makes a comeback. I think only time will tell. And it's really going to be how the audiences and fans receive Tayshia and Kaitlyn in that role. But they are fan favorites as it stands right now. I mean, people have loved seeing them revisit the franchise. So it could look really good for them. Who knows? What do you think, Fiona?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing that I keep coming back to, like anything is possible, right? I definitely think it's going to be very heavily impacted on how the fans react. If the ratings go through the roof in a way we haven't seen in a while, if fan reactions on Twitter are overwhelmingly positive, if people are saying, we love this, we want more of this, ABC would be really silly not to listen, right? But that doesn't mean that Kaitlyn, Tayshia, exactly how it was done this season is the only thing that could, elicit that response from fans, because we've also heard a lot of fans saying that this is not going to work for them without Chris. So something I've considered is maybe if this two-host format, this sort of host/mentor format is something fans really love, there's a way for Chris to step back in, and maybe we don't get Kaitlyn and Tayshia. Maybe it's Chris and Tayshia, Chris and Kaitlyn. Maybe it's Chris and fill in the blank, for a future Bachelor season, it's Chris and a former Bachelor, right? Like, there is, in theory, a way that everyone can kind of get something they like. Chris does the work, he comes back, Chris's fans are happy. Tayshia is beloved, she's interested in continuing, maybe we just put them together. I mean, I don't know if that's just like not on the table, but to me it seems like a really simple possibility. So more than anything, I'm just excited to see where things go, because like you said, Mariah, really only time will tell. We're just gonna be over here on the edge of our seats for a while. And another thing that I thought of that's honestly kind of funny is Kaitlyn was just on the season of Dancing with the Stars where a longtime beloved host, Tom Bergeron, left and Tyra Banks came in, and I'm a Tyra fan. I thought she did a great job. But at the end of the day, that full season has wrapped. I think a lot of people thought that conversation will end. Tyra will do her thing. We'll have an off season. We'll move on. Like, people are going to give up the fight. And to this day, I'm sure you could go on Twitter and find somebody out there still fighting the good fight, still calling for Tom to return. So, I think that some of these Chris Harrison fans are really going to continue to fight this fight. And as I sort of said with Dancing with the Stars, why can't we just make everyone happy? Tyra's great. Tyra and Tom would be awesome. Chris is great. Tayshia's great. That could be awesome too. I think there's a lot of possibilities and there's a lot of directions that this could go in, but hopefully once we finally get that permanent new solution, everyone can be happy. That would be the best thing.
Yeah, so according to Us Weekly, things also went good behind the scenes with Tayshia and Kaitlyn. A source says that the pair are lovely to work with and they got along with the crew. It's just completely different with them co-hosting, which I could totally see that, right? It's something completely different from the past, 20 seasons of The Bachelor that we've seen. To me, it seems a little more fun and a bit lighter, I guess you could say. Like, for example, I feel like I could see these two being a little bit more fun on group dates, if that makes sense, letting their presence be a little bit more known, because let's just face it, they're closer to the contestants and the lead in age. I feel like it might be more of a girlfriend relationship between Tayshia, Kaitlyn, and Katie, where, you sit down and you talk about stuff with your girlfriends, where Katie might not have had that same relationship with Chris Harrison. And if you can remember, we did get pictures during Matt James' season of JoJo and Tayshia being there, maybe helping facilitate a group date, but we never got to see it on the show. So maybe they did test it out with Matt just to see kind of how it would go. And then once all of this happened, decided, okay, well, maybe this is a direction that we can go in for Katie's season with Tayshia and Kaitlyn. What do you guys think these two will bring to the show that is different and new, Fiona?
Yeah, I mean, Morgan, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, there's going to be this sort of girlfriend relationship, girl gang vibes that we've never seen before. I mean, we've barely gotten a glimpse of Katie's season, and already in that first teaser, you mentioned group dates being more fun. We see some guy do something crazy like rip off his pants, and it cuts to the three of them, and it really reminds me just in that split second of how me and my girlfriends would react in that moment, and you just wouldn't get that from Katie and Chris. Not because Chris doesn't do a good job in those moments as well, but just because it is fundamentally different. So the question is going to be, how much of that are we going to get, and how much of a tone shift overall does that bring to the show? I really do think that even if it's small moments here and there, it can really affect like the energy, and fans have been looking for that. We've been looking for, especially with this season, with all of the ongoing controversy, things just need to feel a little different, but in major ways. So I do think that this sort of on the same level, same age, same experiences, right? Like they can draw from the same emotions that they've all had to go through in this process, could really be impactful for the lead and for fans watching at home. So I do think they're going to play a pretty big role. And I think I'm going to be one of those people who's into it. I don't know. What are you thinking, Mariah?
I completely agree with the both of you. I think it just creates a much lighter and fun dynamic. I do love Chris. I think we've mentioned in the past, like he adds a sense of maturity to everything, you know, that like older, wiser person that you can come to with your relationship dilemmas. But I think that it's still going to be an interesting dynamic to have like that girl power present. You know, Katie is going to have Tayshia and Kaitlyn to kind of lean on and look to for support. They're going to keep things, I think, less awkward. I always imagine, you know, when I'm nervous and I'm around a new guy that I kind of like having a girlfriend there kind of breaks the ice. It makes things a little less awkward. So that could be a benefit to Katie as well, just having the two of them there. I think regardless, we can expect it to be really fun and lighthearted. And for sure, they both have already been in that position. So it's really more of a benefit to Katie that she'll have the two of them there to relate to and to help guide her during what I imagine would be a crazy journey.
Yeah, either way, I'm excited to see how it plays out. And there's a lot of unknowns in the future of Bachelor Nation right now. But those are the details we have for you right now. Let us know your thoughts. How do you think Chris really feels about all of this? Are you excited to see Kaitlyn and Tayshia? We are getting closer and closer to Katie's season. I personally can't wait. And as always, make sure you follow us on our socials, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future updates. I'm your host, Morgan Wright, joined today by Fiona Zaring and Mariah Davis. Give us a follow. Our socials are on the screen right now. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.